Well, here I am, headed northwest from Nashville into Kentucky, finally headed to the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. This is my first time going there as a podcaster slash vendor. Been looking forward to this for a while. It's about 3 o'clock Central Time. I was supposed to leave work at 1:30 to try to head down there because load-in is tonight, starting I think at 5 or 5:30. I was trying to get down there pretty early so I could check into the hotel and all that. Of course, I left work 45 minutes late because I had to work, and then I got stuck in Nashville traffic. So over an hour after I was supposed to have already been on the road, I was still stuck in Nashville. But, however, now I am well outside of Nashville, headed towards the Kentucky border. Couldn't be more excited. This ought to be a great time, and I can't wait. Hopefully I'm going to get a lot of good stories while I'm there, and get a chance to walk around a little bit and show you guys the little bit of the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. Maybe show some setup stuff and show some booths and get some really good interviews. This time around I'm going to try something different though, because I've got my GoPro and I'm going to try doing some video recordings of the people who are telling me their stories. Haven't tried that before. Gonna see what that looks like. Maybe put that together in a short YouTube presentation. We'll see. I don't know. But anyway, finally headed north, and I don't know, take a couple of hours, so pass some time away at the border, and I'll probably talk into the camera again at least one more time before we get there. So yeah, that's about it. That's all for now. I'm northwest bound and down. Well, it's 5 o'clock. I'm a little over a half an hour away from the convention, Mayfield, Kentucky. And I just happened to be passing through the famous Land Between the Lakes area in Kentucky, also known as the LBL. And what's really particular about this area is that there is supposed dogman sightings out here all the time. There's supposedly Sasquatch sightings out here frequently as well. But it is more famous for dogman. And sometime back in I think the early 80s, supposedly a family that was camping somewhere in the LBL was attacked in their camper by a supposed dogman, and they were all brutally slaughtered, and the government has covered it up. People don't really exactly know where the original attack site was. There have been some people who claimed that they found it, but there's nothing that's been 100% confirmed yet. Excuse me. So the LBL, the Land Between the Lakes, was actually it was a project that was initiated by John F. Kennedy, I believe. Forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe how it goes was that basically the government declared eminent domain over this town, and there's rivers that flow on either side of this jetty, and they created basically a lake, and the LBL is a national park, and it kind of goes out in between the two rivers, or it's something very similar to that. I can't really exactly remember, but anyway, yeah, there are supposedly dogmen that live out here. If you don't know what dogmen are basically the American equivalent of werewolves. There's some subtle differences between the two, but basically that's it. One of the more famous dogmen stories comes from a man named Martin Groves, who I have been to dinner with him. Met him at the 2025 Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival, and he and a bunch of us went out to dinner together. A really nice guy, but Martin supposedly saw or was attacked by several, him and a buddy. They were out camping out deep in the LBL, and they were attacked by several dogmen, and of course survived. But yeah, if you're not familiar with dogmen, not familiar with Land Between the Lakes, you should definitely look up dogmen and Land Between the Lakes, or LBL. Just put dogmen in the LBL, or do a search for Martin Groves. Very interesting stuff. I've always wanted to come out to the LBL to check it out, and unfortunately I don't have time to do it now, but I know where it is now and I know how to get here. So I will be coming back specifically to the LBL to do my own investigation into the dogman phenomenon. So yeah, that's some interesting tidbits of information here on my way to the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. So thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, I've got 30 minutes to go, and I will be at the hotel. So maybe more to come later. Oh boy, I just finished setting up at the expo. Wasn't a lot of people there setting up, just a handful of us. I'm hoping that the rest of the people will be there tomorrow, because he has a nice little area set up for the rest of the vendors. He's got me posted right directly across from the speaker stage, which I have mixed feelings about, because it's a good spot, because people will definitely be able to notice me where I'm at, but also it's going to be noisy. So because it's in an auditorium, or like a gymnasium type deal, so it's going to be noisy. But that's the risk that you run when you record at stuff like this. So I've made it work before. I'll make it work again, and I'm hopeful that everything's going to turn out pretty good. I think I'm going to have I know I'm going to have at least 3 people come tell me their stories. Hopefully I have about another 2, so I get 5. If I can get 5 stories, I'll be really happy. Of course, I'll take more now. I'll take all I can get. But yeah, I'm excited, and I am off now to get something to eat, because I am starving. It is 7:15, and I literally came in, checked into the hotel, and then went straight to the expo to set up, so I wouldn't have to get up at the ass crack of dawn in the morning and go set up everything. So I got about 98% of everything set up. Just a couple of little things I got to take care of in the morning when I get there, and I will be good to go. So yeah, we'll be talking to you later. I may I'm definitely going to get some good video tomorrow. So yeah, hopefully I'll get some, be able to clandestine record some of the speakers. Sorry, Kent, but I'm going to do that. All right, we'll see you guys later. All right, well, here I am. I got everything all set up at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. Gonna give you guys, we got an hour before the event kicks off. Everybody's just preloading, or loading in, should I say. I did all my stuff last night. There's my little signage. Here's my booth. Got a few t-shirts for sale. But this is the real reason why I'm here. Come tell me your story. Then I've got, of course, my usual display here, and then there's the podcast area right there. So everybody's, like I said, loading in. I don't know who this dude is right here. Let's give you the quick walkthrough while everybody's loading up. It's interesting right here. Some runes. Rune readings, $35. Rooted Journey Paranormal.
Don't know what this is.
Well, I think I still have a few.
There's Kent. He's the guy that's putting this
How many
together.
do you need to do? Okay, I'll grab
Savage
one.
Sideshow Studios.
Right here, Steve.
They got a big area. Spidey, I had to come get that.
Hold that up.
Very interesting stuff. And here's my friends from Night Vision Paranormal. What's up?
What's going on, man?
Bigfoot for president, exactly. Chris and Boo's Paranormal. Love it. This is going to be, I guess, the main registration area? No? I don't know. Hard to tell. Yeah. Main registration area. Nice.
There you go.
Paraflex Paranormal. There you go.
Oh, if you want to trade, walk and trade anything later.
And there is David Eller, who is a quote-unquote monster hunter. There's people have a haunted tour. They live next to a cemetery. And right here is the speaker stage. Last night I was told it was going to be here, but it actually looks like it's going to be here. Very, very small area, but you know, that's how it is. So that's it for right now. Everything starts in an hour, so we'll see how it goes. Peace.
Some positive response, and a red light on the red pod was established as a no. And we were having quite a lengthy conversation with something that was responding to us, and we were having fun. Like, it was kind of like jokey a little bit throughout. We were just all having a good time, and then about 20 minutes before the end, all of a sudden we had a...
If you have a gray Jeep that's parked out here, we're going to ask you to move it so they can put the
massive
food truck out here.
tree come down, and then it was followed by more and more. Like, there was about 2 gigantic trees coming down right at that one moment after we had just asked, will you please show us something before we leave? And it was quite an amazing event that I will never forget.
And you just hey, show us something, and then this massive.
Yeah, we had been investigating the tree line, getting eye shine from the woods. And, we had heard a few branches here and there, normal type stuff, and we kind of ruled out a lot of it, but it was all throughout the night. But this culminated in one of the biggest, like, it was not a little tree.
Was this like a dead tree already? Or?
No, it was, well, I mean, it was nighttime, so we didn't know, but the timing of it was different than I've ever. I mean, it was like immediately after we had asked the question, so it was like an unexplainable. There was a lot of. It was just an amazing thing that I will never forget.
I imagine. Hey, did you have either after the event happened? Did you get any like sense of like either presence here or somebody around watching?
Yeah. So earlier I was kind of in a meditation and really feeling things moving around on the property inside of my heart and my mind. And it's kind of the way those things go, is that you can feel it. You just know. If you know, you know.
That's true. It was hard to like put that into words.
It really is. But it was a culminating event that kind of throughout the night kind of built up. And this was a little bit, I had been there one time previously, and it was special that time, but this time it was really trying to communicate something with us. And letting us know they were there.
That's amazing. That's a great story. Did you have anything else happen besides that? Did you, like, I know you said you were getting some eye shine.
Yeah, well, initially in the night, me and my team member, we had walked down to a memorial site bodies aren't actually there, but it's a memorial site, and we were just kind of drawn down. And we didn't get a whole lot right there, but on the way back down the path, we were getting things following us, and but we definitely had eye shine and shadow movements, and it was you could feel it on like one side of my body was tingling, and out of nowhere, and it was just like, oh man, this is so cool, oh my goodness. We were talking to them, you could follow us, you can follow us, and the more we were talking and being kind to it, it was responding with these feelings, and we were getting more sounds and movements and footsteps coming down the trail. This place is amazing. If anybody gets a chance, they should go to Fort Duffield, Kentucky, and investigate.
Put that on my list. All right, AJ, thank you very much. I appreciate you telling me the story.
Absolutely.
All right, appreciate it. All right, everybody, I got my second victims here. Wanted to tell me a story here at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. So go ahead, guys, and sorry I don't have another chair, dude. I wish I would give me another chair. Go ahead and introduce yourselves real quick,
I'm Shannon Johnson.
I'm Richard Blankenship.
Richard, Shannon, and Richard. Well, thanks for agreeing to tell me you guys' story. So tell me what's going on. What do you guys want to tell me?
Yeah, so I guess starting from the beginning, we always for 15 years, give or take, we've been in the paranormal. My grandma, her house is based on Bigfoot, and she's had demonic experiences there. And in the book, we had a book published called The Haunting of Beach Grove.
Haunting of Beach Grove. I'm looking at it right now.
It has been picked up in Books a Million, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. It's available in the United States, UK. But in the house, there's a demonic presence. Her sister actually lived with her and seen a demonic figure and committed suicide.
Oh.
Yeah, and we told us about that in the book. And the house was featured on Paranormal State.
Okay.
A&E's Paranormal State.
Yeah.
It was season 3.
Yep. That's been a little bit ago. Yeah, I remember that show.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen it with Return of the Sith.
I never watched it very much. I would catch episodes here and there, so I may or may not have seen it.
Well, Ryan and Chad, they was two of the investigators. Ryan was the lead one. They done actually a podcast on the episode a few months back, telling about it and how odd it was. But her dream was always to write a book about her experiences, because living in a small rural area, if you talk about that, people think you are crazy, or they don't believe it, whatever the case may be. And reading her journals after she passed away, it was kind of like what she was going through without nobody there to help. So I made it my mission after I got her journals after she passed away to accomplish her dream.
So she recorded everything that was going on in her journals. So that's what the book is from her. Wow, that's
some
cool.
hard journals.
We divided it into 2 sections, where the first section is all from her journals. It's just all that I've taken out and compiled into one story.
Okay.
And then the second part, it gathers timeline of events and other corroborating evidence and other stories that weren't recorded, but we picked up during the interview process of researching the book. So we got some of the science, some of the evidence behind it, and some of the history as well of that area and how it works into the story.
How long did it take you to do all that and write the book?
She had multiple journals, and it was just deciphering through that. So
just
in 8 months.
Matter of months. I was on it quite a lot. I mean, once you pick it up into it and you're reading it and reading her, accounts of it, and you're like, oh wow, that's
you can't put it down.
That's the story behind it, and read it in their own handwriting, especially.
That's amazing.
Is an amazing.
You still have those journals?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is very super.
Yeah, we do. And like I say, the book is very, very interesting. I highly recommend going to watch that episode of Paranormal State, because I can promise you would want to read more of the book. My grandpa actually still lives in the house.
Wow, is he still having experiences?
Yes, but nothing to the extent it had been, and nothing demonic. We've actually investigating the house, and we're actually doing a live event investigation on Halloween at the house.
And we even have in here a couple of pictures from the investigation that we did of the house and the grounds that it sits on. And we were able to capture a few things there. I mean, we got voices, photos. One of the best of them was the space here with all the woods behind the house. Because it's not just the house itself we found, but a lot of the surrounding area as well.
Wow.
And it's an interesting process to say the least.
And like my wife and other people has experiences. In our second book, we're going to be telling more about the experiences. Like my mother and my wife and my sister was at the house, and they heard something physically coming up the stairs, and my mom had to hold the door because it felt like something was coming open and nobody was there. Wow. And telling them to run out because they thought somebody was breaking in. But the door downstairs is shut, so there's not one way in, no way out in the basement.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, what's like, out of everything you guys looked through, read through the journal, what's like one story that stood out to you guys above all the rest? Put you on the spot.
Probably one that touched me, like, I don't want to say freaked me out, but it got me to thinking was, one night she was laying in bed, and this was after she'd seen the demonic figure. She described it as blacker than night, with like a rat's head. Well, she said it sounded like a little kid crying behind the dresser, like it was scared or something. Like it was scared of that figure. And like the way she described it in the book, it was goosebumps. Yeah.
Very interesting. This is one of the coolest stories that I've heard in a long time. To actually have, you know, basically first-hand accounts. I mean, it's the next best thing. If you can't talk to the person, you got their journals as it was happening. So that is amazing.
And there's been multiple people that's lived in the house. Like there was a doctor that lived in the house that went crazy and threw a piano down the basement stairs.
Dang. So there's something going on in that house for sure.
Oh yeah. And like, well, I don't think it's evil at this point, but I don't know if you know Chip Cox.
Yes,
he was
I know who he is.
He was the medium that come there, and he thinks there was a spring under the house, and he thinks that's how the spirits travel, and that's just like a travel place for spirits.
No, it's like a stopping point. Passing through and stop off.
And he got an article published, actually, he wrote in the UK about that wood.
Well, the one that was on that particular subject was on UNX Network, or UNX Magazine. And it's about the effect or the correlation and possible causation between water supply or running water and the events of a haunting or supernatural events or anything like that. And also tied a little bit of the effect of like crystals and the science behind them, how they store memory and so forth.
See, we have one of the Bellbreakers, and he's got a degree in theology and psychology. So we look at it at both different angles, you know.
I try to approach it more as a science kind of thing. A Mulder and Scully rolled all into one.
And that's one of the things that like paranormal investigators and the tech and all the equipment and stuff that they use is people don't really. So far, it hasn't gotten the scientific props that I think that it really deserves.
Absolutely.
You know, so people like you who are trying to put an emphasis on that science part that's very important. I think for paranormal investigators, it's you can go spend $1,000 to get all the cool tools and all this other sorts of stuff and play with it and all that crap. But if you really know the science behind it and why it's doing what it does. That way you can more intelligently speak on, hey look, I got this cool like EVP, or I got this cool recording off the spirit box, and this is how it works, this is how I got it.
The why.
It makes it more credible. So good on you.
Well, when we formed Bellbreakers Paranormal, and we make sure to put investigation and research and investigation, because like I say, you see a surge in the paranormal, spiritual, I would say 99.9% of people believe something. Spiritual realm.
I think if you look at surveys that have been done, there's
absolutely. We
really
see it all the time on TikTok, YouTube, and I think getting in on the front lines of it is more of a research instead of just an investigation. Like, that's why we need to negative veil breakers. Breaking that veil and knowing the why, what lies behind the spiritual realm. Like, what is that for like? Because we're also paramedics. We work in the EMS world.
Me too, brothers.
Oh, you are? Okay,
Oh,
yeah. So you get that as well.
Yeah.
And a cool little story about the yellow butterfly is that's a homage to my grandma. We was at the graveyard side when I was little after her sister Donna passed away, and she's give me a sign. Within seconds, we got swarmed by 75 to 100 yellow butterflies, and that was her thing from then on, yellow butterflies. And she already said it. That's why you see yellow butterflies. We know you're okay. So I think it was just meant to be.
That's
not
cool.
doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But you were talking about, you named your group Veil Breakers.
Yep.
You're looking beyond the veil, and that reminded me one of the things that I always close out my podcast with was that if you wish to change, you must open your eyes, and you see, what's going on, and that's cool that you guys are.
Well, there's an old saying as well. I remember, and I read it once in the past. It said that discovery lies less in the finding of new lands and more in looking upon the eyes. And so as it goes on.
I think, like I say, definitely check us out on that. And I think we got the best bar for us. Give yourself enough credit, having that 2 degrees in this line of work. I mean, it's hard to come by, so.
Well, thank you guys for telling me the story, man. This is cool. I'm definitely gonna check this book out.
Yeah. Well, we got
really
some for purchase if you want to get one, or it's available online.
Yeah, I'd love to get one.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate you giving me this in. All right. I am here with Mr. Kent Wilson from, tell me the name of your group again?
Ken
10 Paranormal. He is the purveyor, the guy that is responsible for the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. And he is here to just tell us about the expo. I want to hear one of your best paranormal stories while you're here. So Kent, appreciate you being here and for having me, for doing this. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to meet and talk to all these people. So tell us about the expo and how you came on.
So I'm thankful you're here. The expo actually started 3 years ago because the tourism committee asked me if I could do something because Graves County, Kentucky has adopted Halloween as their thing. So they have haunted graves, which makes sense, Graves County, haunted graves. So they have haunted graves in October, and a special event every weekend. We have 2 of the top haunted attractions, haunted houses in the state. In Graves County, we have Talon Floors and we have the Industrial Slaughterhouse. So and the cool thing about the Industrial Slaughterhouse, the slaughterhouse is actually haunted.
Nice, an actual haunted house.
Yes. And so my team got investigated as an investigation. So the first year we did it, we threw it together in 4 months, and we had it in the conference room at the library. So we got bigger every year. As you see, we moved to the Expo Center last year, and it's big.
This is the big area right here.
And we've already had a good crowd come through, so I like that. The reason we do it really, I'm not like some of the people, and I'm not in this to make money and be famous. I actually do it to promote the paranormal into this community because we were in the Bible Belt, and we were in the heart of the Bible Belt. So me growing up, I have abilities, whatever title you want to use, medium, whatever title. So I've always had. So I've grown up in Wycliffe. I was told straight to my face at 6 years old that I was going to hell, and I was a tool of the devil.
That's not what you want to tell us.
No. So I made it my life's work, my life passion to educate the public about it. It's not like that, And thanks to as I like to call it, the para-pop culture. That's my word. You can use it. The para-pop culture. That's made my that's made my purpose harder and easier. Because now it's easier to talk about, but a lot of the para-pop culture is so fake. You have to worry about that.
People are trying to get their 15 minutes worth of fame, so they're willing to do whatever it takes to get that. A lot of, not everybody, but a lot.
Like say it's a demon, but it's not.
Don't get me started on that.
So interesting story, as you know, because we talked about this before. I just finished my first book. Not that I ever wanted to be a writer, but everybody was like, you need to write a book, So I finally wrote a book. My working title ended up being my title. Some people, some good friends of mine in the field always told me my title was too long. But my personality is what everybody likes. So I wanted my personality in the book. I wanted my personality in the So the title of my book is actually Don't Buy Generic Batteries, and It's Probably Not a Demon. The Memoirs of Paranormal Investigator. So, and there are demons out there. I'm not denying it. I'm actually, not only am I an experienced investigator and a passionate one, I'm also an educated one. I have a degree in parapsychology. I have 2 degrees in theology, and I am a trained demonologist under Bishop Long in the Old Catholic Church. So I'm educated too. So I'm not denying it, but not everything's a demon. You're talking about less than 1%.
Yeah, that's the popular thing. Thanks to an unnamed television show where everything all of a sudden just one day started becoming demon. And now if you look at all these paranormal investigation groups, they're all jumping on that bandwagon. And I am squarely with you. Not everything is a freaking demon.
Less than 1%. I tell these people all the time, you don't want to see a demon, so why, I'm trained, and I don't want to see a demon, you know what I'm saying?
Why would you want, why you want one?
There's malicious spirits out there, there's a lot of malicious spirits, but, what I tell people when it comes to malicious spirits, if you were a dick kid when you were alive,
that's exactly what I was going to say, because you don't just necessarily change when, your afterlife is going to be as when you were walking this earthly plane, and that's what I tell a lot of people. If you were an a-hole in life, you're going to be an a-hole in death, unless you just got some sort of great epiphany, which does happen, I'm sure, but I think for the most part, your personality stays.
We actually investigated. It was odd because it was one of those investigations. We were actually asked by the sheriff's department to come investigate. It's one of these urban legends like you hear in every town. So I was like, it's the urban legend about a boy and girl, high school sweethearts going to prom, getting killed. So I was like, give me a break. But
was it on a bridge too?
No, it was like a country road.
It's never like Highway 1. It's always something.
So, but since we were called out by the sheriff's department, I was like, well, check it out. We did actually make contact with both. The girl and the guy.
Okay, so there was something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what was interesting was the girl. The girl. She's who we came in contact with first, and she told us. And just explain as I told you, she told us that she hadn't crossed over because she wanted to cross over with her boyfriend. She wanted to cross over together.
Okay.
So, and it took us forever, like another 45 minutes before we was able to get in contact with the boyfriend. When we finally got in contact with him, we explained to him, Jessica Fernandez. He was like, Jessica was waiting on you to cross over. He told us to her face. To my face because I'm the one that kept me anyway. So he told me, he's like, well, that's sweet and I appreciate that, but I'm going to hell. So that's why I haven't crossed over. So she needs to go ahead and cross over without me.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, he told us that straight to us. I don't know.
I've never heard anyone tell us something like that.
Yeah, he told it straight to us. And I guess I may be kind of the odd paranormal investigator, especially for doing it as long as I have. But I'm a religious guy. Religion is part of my. I incorporate it in my thing. I look at my gifts as gifts from God, and I'm just using them to help people.
That's great.
So you have other people that are like, oh, religion has no place in.
I'm a little on the fence. I always think you should, and I think you probably feel the same way I do. I think you should always, if you're going to do an investigation, you should always keep an open mind. And you don't need to come in with bringing religion into it to start off with, and you don't need to come into with, oh, this is a demon, I already know this is a demon, or, you know, anything that's already preset in your head. You need to come in with an open mind.
Yeah, if it's preset in your head, it's going to be
that's what you're going to find.
And I don't bring my religion. The only part the religion plays in my investigation is I am big on protection.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
So we do a prayer of protection before we go in, and we do a prayer of detachment before we leave.
And you should.
But I mean, I have members of my team that are not religious. I have members of my team that are Wiccans. I have a member of my team who studies occult stuff. You know, so I'm not here to judge people. You know, but to me, my gifts are for God. So you know.
But you got to protect yourself, before you go in. You know, and I like that you do. You know, when you come out. So is your book published yet?
It's actually. I'm waiting on my forward from Aaron G. Thompson.
Okay.
So I'm picking that up. He was my guest last night on my podcast, and I called him out on not having it to me yet. And he said he would have it to me Friday when I see him at Rock Island.
Well, tell everybody the name of your podcast and when do you broadcast and how can they get it?
So my podcast is Paranormal Addicts Podcast, and we broadcast every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we're available right now on live on Facebook, on Get Haunted, or of course on the Paranormal Addicts podcast page, and then live on YouTube. And then after that, we're on Spotify. And for season 3, we're going to start streaming on
Scare Network. That's cool. And when do you think your book is going to be available?
I'm hoping to have it available in December, but definitely by January.
Be on Amazon?
Yep.
All right, cool. So tell everybody the name of your book again.
Don't buy generic batteries, and it's probably not a demon. The memoirs of a paranormal investigator.
So look for that soon on Amazon. And thank you so much for having me here. This is a great event that you got going on, and I look forward to coming back with you.
Next year.
Yes, sir. You got it. Thank you. Right, I am here with Josh from Teps Investigates. Josh, thanks for sitting down and telling me a story. So, first of all, tell us about Teps Investigates and what you guys do.
All right, so Teps Investigates is it's basically a show. It's an original series that you can find on ParaReality. ParaReality, of course, is like a streaming network. I always say it's like the paranormal Netflix, right? So, but I've been involved in the industry for about 30 years, and in fact, when I my very first team, I was living in the Panhandle of Florida, and started doing preliminary investigations for a new show called Ghost Hunters back then. So we kind of got our start there, and then been involved in the industry for several years, and now have my own shows. This is my second original series, and we're wrapping up season 2 for the new series, Teps Investigates. So been around touring now.
I guess Teps is an acronym.
Well, it actually stands for the Everything Paranormal Show, which is my old podcast.
Okay, all right, got it. So that would be the email address. Okay,
right. Yeah.
I'm slow when I pick up the phone.
But when I stopped kind of doing the podcast a lot, we shortened it up to Teps. But believe it or not, I was doing some gaming, some online scary games, and so you can't put like the Everything Paranormal Show as a gamer name. So I would put like Teps for short. Yeah. Well, then people started calling me Teps. Well, so there you go.
There you go. So now you're Teps.
Pretty much. That's my new name.
Well, tell me like one of your favorite stories from your investigations.
Okay. Well, I will tell you a ghost story, but it's actually not during an investigation.
Okay, sweet.
This was one of only 2 times I think I actually witnessed a real ghost. Because, investigating, I hear a lot of sounds, noises, capture a lot of evidence, but it's actually seeing a real ghost. Yeah, that's different. Yeah. So I was at my day job, and I had to go change a piece of equipment that was on the side of a house. Okay? I worked for like a cable internet company at the time. And so I knocked on the door to let the customer know that the services were going to go down for a little bit, his internet and cable. And an old man came to the door and he said, okay, he said, that's no problem. Well, I walked around to the back of his house, and this is, now mind you, this is in the broad daylight.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, this is not at night.
Yeah, you don't do
no.
service like that.
Right, so, and I'm standing there, and I had to like lean, he had like a big prickly holly bush. If anybody knows what a holly bush is, they're pokey. And so I had to like lean up against his house and kind of push it. Well, anyway, so I'm leaning over, trying to replace his equipment. Well, right in my face is a window that leads into his house. It's bright out. So inside the house, it's dark, and you can't really see in the house. Okay, just to kind of paint the picture. It's a screen, a window. It's dark. Well, I'm working. All of a sudden, I turn my face, and there's a woman in the window, right, like almost like 8 inches away from me, basically. Very ashy looking. There's an old lady, and it startled me. And I physically jumped, and my first reaction was, I bet I scared this poor lady.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm sorry, ma'am. I kind of put my hand up. I'm sorry, ma'am. And then she just kind of faded back into the darkness, like out of a movie. And I'm like, okay, that was kind of creepy. So I get done. I go around back to the thing. So I talked to the old man. I said, okay, sir, I'm finished with everything. I said, can you go ahead and check your internet, check your TV, make sure everything's back on. So he walks away, he comes back a few minutes later, says everything's working. I said, well, listen, I also want to let you know, tell the woman that's in there, or your wife maybe or something, please let her know I apologize for maybe scaring her. And he said, oh, there's nobody here, it's just me. I was like, oh, then like the goosebumps on the back of my neck stood up. I was like, oh my God. So then I called one of my team members. I was like, hey, look this dude up. Like, look this guy up. She sent me a picture of the obituary for his wife, and it was her.
Oh no.
I was like, oh my God. And then more goosebumps on top of my goosebumps. So I like to share that one because that's one of my most craziest encounters.
Now, did you have to like fight the urge to go, this guy's doing this, okay, I want to investigate your house?
Yeah, but also when it's like a deceased loved one, you kind of like, you want to kind of hesitate a little bit. But now, I'll give you another little secret, because that story is in my book, right? But this is a little bonus that's not on the book. So I actually went back there later on, about 4 years.
Okay.
4 years later, I had to go back there because I still was working at this job. I show up and a woman answers the door. She's slightly younger. And I tell her the story because, we get talking. She said, well, I've been living here for 8 years. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. I was only here 4 years ago. I only moved to the area recently. I was here 8 years ago. She's like, well, I've been living here for 8 years. There's no woman here. So I'm like, now I'm really blown away. So there you go. I don't know. I really don't know any of that. Like, that's all I know is I went there, was talking to her. I thought maybe it was like going to be her dad or somebody, that she was going to have an explanation for this. But then when I got telling her this, and she was like, well, when was you here? I said, that's about 4 years ago. I said, that's when I moved to the area and started working for this company. She was like, I've been here 8 years. I don't know of any, it's just me. Yeah, and I was like, oh my God. So anyways, there you go.
Wow. That's a great follow-up to that story.
I know, but I had already written the book.
So tell everybody the name of your book and where they can find it.
The book is actually called My Paranormal, A Guide to the Spirit Realms. It's by Josh Morris, and it is available on Amazon, and it is available in, I think, like 11 countries also. So if you're a foreign listener, you might be able to get it too.
And the name of your show is Teps Investigates.
Teps Investigates.
Okay, and tell everybody when and where.
Okay, so Teps Investigate is on Paraflix. It's a streaming service. You can find that stream. You can download Paraflix almost on anything, pretty much. Roku, all that stuff. And you can find me on Facebook. I'm still under the Everything Paranormal Show, but on YouTube you can find me as Teps Investigates.
All right, thank you very much for that. That's a cool story. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I am here with my next guest at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. This is Alan.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for sitting down and telling the story. Now, I know this is from when you were a kid. You said somewhere around the age of 8 years old.
Correct.
Yeah, and you hinted a little bit about what this was going to be about, but I'm really interested in this because you seem pretty excited.
Well, this story starts about me and my grandmother and a friend of hers all going to a restaurant in Waterford, Pennsylvania. It was actually the Waterford Hotel, so there is a location here. One of the things is it used to be part of the Underground Railroad, so they actually gave tours and things like that in the upstairs. In the upstairs, they showed us like one of the rooms that was still prepared, like back in the old era. And as a kid, I'm curious, you know, I'm looking around. I don't understand a lot of history at that time. And we all went downstairs to order. Well, of course, you're waiting for like 20, 30 minutes for a meal, and me being a kid, curious about the upstairs, I asked if I could go take a look. The waitress said it was okay as long as I didn't touch anything, so I went up there. So I was by myself. I went upstairs, and I checked out the room again, looked under the bed, you know, little stupid stuff like that. And as I exited the room, I looked down the hallway, and I just saw this like eerie glow at the end of the hall. Now, I couldn't quite make out what it was. I started moving toward it, but then I just felt like utter dread. Like I was absolutely terrified. Like I stopped in my tracks. And at that time, I thought I saw what would be like a disembodied hand. An actual hand coming out from underneath the door. And like on the bottom of the door? Like under the bottom of the door. And then there was like a finger just kind of like doing, like motioning toward yourself.
The old Scooby-Doo.
Yes, yes.
Oh man, that's creepy.
And of course at that point, I finally got the gumption to run. I went downstairs and, you know, of course, told my grandmother I was freaked out. All it can be. Her, the waitress, my other grandmother went up there. We all went to check. And, of course, I couldn't see anything. But there was one thing that was kind of eerie in this little hallway. I thought there was an extra pair of doors. When we went back up, this set of doors was in there.
And was it one of the doors where the hand was coming?
That's what my guess is, yes. Now, I remember this like as it was day because you're terrified as a young kid. You're just thinking to yourself, holy crap.
Yeah, and that burns into your memory.
Right. And I never could get back there to verify anything like that, especially now that I'm close to it. But again, it's like something you remember as a kid. It's actually one of the reasons why I stayed with the paranormal.
Yeah, I can see that. One of the reasons things that got me interested in stories was I'm a little older, but I don't know if you ever heard of the show In Search of Leonard Nimoy.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I was watching that show, and I can't remember what episode, but it was like found in France or something there, and it was at one of the old French chateaus, and basically the chateau was haunted, and this lady was laying in bed, and this whole disembodied hand here in the doorway over her room, and it basically scared her to death. And that never happened to me, but it just freaked me out so much when I was a kid when I saw that I couldn't sleep. And my mom was like, "You're never watching the show." But that's kind of what got me started with the paranormal journey. And so then I had an experience also.
I've been interviewed for a long time.
It was probably a few years later. I wasn't really into paranormal or anything like that. I was just, it was like, you know, I saw that Leonard Nimoy show and it kind of got me interested. So I would watch it from time to time, and then I would like, if there was a library book at school that had something to do with ghosts or something, I would look it up there. Fast forward a couple of years.
It could have been decent.
Something come to my room when I was a kid, and it freaked me out. And we were the only people that ever lived in that house. It was a big house, and like nobody died, you know. But I don't know what the history of the land. I'm sure it was farmers, but you know that kind of like that cemented like there's something. That kind of
well, in a lot of ways with the paranormal too, it's almost like you're in a highway. So if you're susceptible, you can become like a beacon of light and things will wander in. It doesn't necessarily mean the place is haunted.
Yeah.
And as a ghost hunter, you kind of see that more often.
There's never been anything happening in that house like before since that I know of. And I just always expected, you know, somebody was just passing by. Like, check in, it's like, what's up, dude? You know, I'm here. that story, man. So, do you have your own paranormal investigation?
Yeah, I'm with Teps Investigates. I'm also starting a YouTube called Candlewick Investigations.
Okay.
That has not been up yet, but I'm starting to get some video and photos.
Okay.
Candlewick.
Candlewick Investigation.
Correct.
All right, you guys. So, be on the lookout on YouTube. Candlewick Investigations. It's coming soon.
Coming soon, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for telling your story. That's a great story. I appreciate it. Everybody, I've got my next storyteller here. This is Chris. Chris, thanks for agreeing to tell me your story of the weird. What's going on? Tell me your story.
All right. Well, this was a long time ago when I used to work at a cemetery back in Nashville, Tennessee, where I'm originally from. And I actually have two separate stories, but they're both from the same. I used to work at this place called Spring Hill Cemetery in Nashville, Tennessee. And, you know, so on opposite sides of our main street,
getting ready for the Q&A.
We have a veteran cemetery, and we have the original cemetery itself.
You gotta speak loud because they can't even hear
I'll
the back.
start off.
We're gonna get a bigger sound system for next year, so I'm gonna bring mine.
Strange person that's been seen wandering around
Just waiting on
our
Kent here.
veterans, the property where our veterans are buried at. Like,
all right, normally we like to do like some
out there
crowd
and
stuff,
I'm
but
investigating.
how you all doing?
Trying to look, trying to see at the location. There were two separate locations out there. One was by our main highways, and the other one was closer to a mausoleum we have, mostly in the center, but towards the back, like dark part of our cemetery. And so I'm out there trying to investigate, and I started hearing what sounded like, I don't know if it was grunting or coughing, but I start to get a little bit closer, and I see this very old gentleman that's like Civil War type soldier era.
Wearing Civil War type uniform?
Yes.
Oh. Was he Confederate or Union?
I'm kind of confused too, but it was like all just like dark blue.
And that would be Union?
Yeah, Union. So, and I'm trying to call out, you know, sir, is everything okay? You know, just trying to let them know that our cemetery's closed. You know, we have a certain time where we're closed. So, and I'm trying to call out to him, trying to get his attention, and absolutely none. So I'm trying to get a little closer because, you know, this man looks kind of elderly, so maybe he has, you know, some hearing issues. And I get about as close as like this table to where the end of your other table is, right there. And I'm just
6 or 8 feet.
Yeah, 6 or 8 feet, and I'm trying to get his attention. And he turns around. He has, I swear, it's like he could be an actual person. But he was somewhat transparent. I could see the wall, like, through him. But his face was crystal clear, as if I was seeing your face now. Like, no eyes whatsoever, withered, leather, mummified like skin in the face. And
awesome. So you can see we have a good selection.
And like, sir, you can't be here, it's going on stuff, and I'm trying to get him to leave. He just stares at me, stares directly in my soul. And I am completely frozen, like I am unable to, I am unable to speak. So I close my eyes for a brief second, and as soon as I open them up, it's gone. And next thing I know, I can actually move. So I hate till it out. And my second story is at the same cemetery, but it's on our main plot, and it's kind of close to the back, another dark section of our cemetery, where we have a massive, I think, cedar or oak tree that's probably about 10, 15 in diameter. It's pretty huge. So, because it was very close to closing time, and I was overhearing a couple trying to make a complaint about seeing what looked like a little child, or hearing a little child crying, running around, or whatever. So my supervisor was like, can you go check that out? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I make my way out there with my flashlight.
Oh, this is at night?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, we closed at like 8 or 9 o'clock. So, and it was like very, very dark, very cloudy, because it had just rained just shortly before. So, and I'm out there trying to, I'm just looking and looking. I got my flashlight and searching, and I start hearing what can be made out as either a little bit of giggling or crying, like a whining type of sound. And I notice it's coming from our very large tree. I'm like, okay, maybe it's coming from around the side. So I walk around the tree and I see this little girl, and I swear it was like as clear as day, just slightly tattered white, pretty low white church dress with a little bit of frills on the bottom, and kind of, it's no sleeves, but like frills on the straps. With curly blonde hair, pigtails, and with a blue bow on one side and a red bow on the other. And so I get a little bit closer, but I'm also staying cautious, trying to get her attention, asking her if she's okay, just trying to let her know that, we're closing and we can't have any children around here. I'm supervised, we can't have anybody here after hours. And out of nowhere, she just starts giggling, like those creepy little giggles you would hear, like straight out of a horror. Just real creepy, like, and it just gets my hair standing straight on it. And
get out there.
Yeah, I'm like, kid, look, you really can't be here after hours. We're closing and it's not safe. Come on, let me help you find your parents. So I'm about to place my hand on her shoulder. My hand goes straight through her. Like, oh shit. Next thing I know, this little girl turns around, no eyeballs, just empty sockets, streams of blood, like tears coming out of her eyes as if she was crying. Blood. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And like, as soon as I got back to my supervisor, I let him know what I found. Of course, I had showed him the video of the camera I had back then. And I also put in my 2 weeks notice. So,
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, and that was, this is like just before I started to like the whole paranormal, like the whole ghosts and all that sort of stuff.
Get you into it.
Yeah, it definitely got me interested though. And since then I've just been a big fan of the paranormal. I've been trying to take as many tours, like we have haunted tours all over Nashville. And it's just been fascinating me ever since. It's like 15, 20 years ago.
Well, I'm probably Nashville's one of the best characters.
Find yourself a red
podcast.
Get with the team.
Very
intentionally keep it small. So thank you for sitting down and telling me this great story.
Thank you for having me.
That's some scary stuff. Don't blame you for putting it in your
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
I am sitting down with Mark from Night Vision Paranormal.
Yes, sir.
And you have an interesting dog story.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, well, Dogman is one of my favorite dogs.
Mine too.
So, I'd love to hear it.
All right. So I live 15 minutes away from the north entrance of LBL, so I'm in there all the time. The rest of my group, Night Vision Paranormal, we all work together when we go on ghost hunts and such, and they come along and kind of tolerate me on the cryptid stuff. So a lot of times they've got kids and soccer and church, and they've got so many things going on. So a lot of times I end up going by myself up to LBL. Been up there steadily for the last 2 years. I grew up in this area, hunted, I didn't hunt, but I fished, hiked, and swam, camped, all that in LBL for most of my life, and never saw a thing. Well,
the beast of LBL comes up a lot, and that really piques my interest because it's practically my backyard. So a lot of times I'll have to go by myself. May 28th of this year, I decided to do something different than the normal driving through LBL and hiking through LBL. I decided to go by water this time to a known hot spot. The information came from Martin Grove, which I've met twice.
Yes, I've met Martin.
Super guy.
With Martin, so.
We met him in Townsend, Tennessee, and then again at the LBL Squatch Out just about 3 weeks ago. He was able to come by. Great guy. But anyway, his stories and the location is what inspired me to go there. So I took my kayak, launched from a boat ramp very close by.
It's taking the stage. Please come up here.
Hot spot that he talks about a lot. And I'm seeing lots of normal wildlife, deer, raccoon, snakes, all the things that you would expect as I go along the paddle on Kentucky Lake along the shoreline, hoping to see something else. I took general pictures, landscape pictures, and the snakes and everything, because I'm into all kinds of wildlife. And didn't see anything, didn't hear anything. So I finish up, go back home, and I send the pictures to my daughter, Jill Winstead, who's the co-founder of Night Vision Paranormal. And she's scouring through every frame of the picture, she's our technical person. She sends back to me a picture that I had taken, zoomed in, and she said, "Oh my God, look what you got." So what it is a dark figure. What it appears to be are ears, a muzzle, and a shoulder of a black figure there. Which again, I didn't know anything at the time.
Okay, guys.
So I'm all excited now, right? I got something without knowing it. 44 hours later, I go back, launch again on the kayak to this time with the phone that I took the original picture with and another camera, trying to estimate, and this is floating on Kentucky Lake, the distance and the angles from where I was. So I took a whole bunch of pictures this time.
So you knew like where you were when you captured them?
Yes, there's a prominent feature there that I knew immediately where I had taken the picture. But you know, I'm floating out Kentucky Lake, and it's really windy on the day that I go back. And I'm getting buffeted around, but I take a whole bunch of pictures, go back and send them to her. And once again, she's looking through. There's a particular, what we call spiky tree on this rock face that you're able to match up the location. Well, on May 28th, there was a dark figure there that had appeared to have the features that I was talking about. On May 30th, less than 2 days later, there was nothing there. Okay? Nothing. I can't tell you exactly what it is. I can tell you there was something there that there wasn't. So that was the first one. My job is not to convince you of anything. With the whole group, we hiked in this time, thinking we'd be able to get down to this location. There's a ledge there that we not all the same. We all have different experiences in the same situations. There could be two people in a sighting, and both of those people have different experiences. So that's what makes all of this so weird. I don't think it was a hoax because one, nobody knew I was going. Number two,
it's never the same for the same person doesn't have the same experience every time they go out.
And number three, there's another reason that we're not disclosing because it's still an active investigation as to why we don't think there was going to be any person.
It's up to you to decide what you
They were very good. Okay, so that was the second follow-up.
Very young age.
I've got to get ropes. And I've got a background in rope rescue, so I know exactly what it's going to take to get there.
And it just absolutely fascinated me, and I wanted to know more and more and more. I began to collect every book I could find, every article I could find. I began to read
I bought a drone specifically for this. I launched the drone from the
collection of this type of stuff. And now
river,
I have like one of the biggest collections of Bigfoot stuff
straight up
in the U.S.
Got some pictures. Now I'm brand new at droning. I got pictures of what I was looking for, but not exactly the angle that I wanted. So that was the third follow-up. I got those pictures. Our fourth follow-up is next month. The whole
Night Vision
But as I
Paranormal is going to
began
go
to
back,
research this stuff,
taking all the
I got
ropes,
deeper and
we're
deeper
going
into it. And
my
I realized
original
it's
idea
not
was
just
to get
Bigfoot
down to that
creatures.
cliff
These
where the whole
were-
group went.
There were dog men, there were
I had
lake
a measuring
monsters,
stick
there were alien
that I
beings
marked
that
at 5, 6,
I
7,
wanted to
and
see.
8
I wanted to
feet
experience these
increments.
things.
And then a streamer at the top, which was 8 feet
When I
2
got old
inches.
enough to
So I
begin
thought
to
we'd be able to
travel,
get down to this
I began
ledge.
to travel all
It
across
didn't look
the
that bad
U.S.,
from the pictures.
with Canada, down into the Yucatan.
The idea was
We
to
began
put
to
that
have
there,
all sorts of
go back in the kayak,
paranormal
come back,
activity.
and get
all of
comparison.
all of these spots.
That couldn't
but it
happen.
led to
That's what's going to happen next month.
30 years
So,
of research, on the ground research.
Something about Martin Groves on this. He at the Squatch House.
One of the strangest
I had all
things
these
that
people
occurred
that
to me,
they heard about the picture.
Was in the Yucatan.
They wanted to see it.
I
This is great. This is great.
wanted to investigate the
Well, I got up the
pyramids.
courage to.
I got into
show
one
it
of
to
the
Martin
pyramids,
Groves.
which I wasn't supposed to do, but I got into
If you
it.
want to know the whole story
I
that I
had
just told
brought
you, I'd be
with
happy to
me
tell you.
a brand new
Here's the
flashlight,
picture.
brand new
And he
batteries.
looks at it.
I got deep
He didn't
into
say
the
anything.
pyramid, and I began to feel like
And I wait.
something didn't
He still
want
doesn't say
me.
anything, and I say,
Something began to
What
make
do you
me
see
feel like I
anything? He
should
said,
leave. At that
I see
moment, my
trees.
flashlight
And my heart
drained
sank,
completely in
and I
about
was ready to
5
tuck my
seconds.
tail between my legs and walk
So
away.
now here
And then
I
he
was
started
in the middle
laughing.
of a pyramid.
And then Mike Smith, who was there,
No
too,
lie,
he started
I had
laughing.
to
So apparently this is how
get out
they
of
get
this
you.
thing
You know?
backward.
So afterwards he said, oh yeah,
And
I
so
see
now I'm
muzzle, I
feeling
see
the
ears.
wall, and I'm
I
waiting
see-
for the
oh,
arrows
this
to
is
start
fantastic.
shooting at me like Indiana Jones.
That's our
Managed to get through
ongoing
these dark
investigation
tunnels by hand, by feel,
I believe is a dog.
and I began to
But
hear
there's
a
certainly a
weird
dark figure
metal
there.
on metal sound.
And one day, and less
It was
than
like
2
a
days
ching,
later, was
ching, ching. And I began to try to figure out what was it. Was this a bird? Was this a bat? What was this? I couldn't come up with any,
now, could it be a
anything that this
bear?
could be.
It could.
Finally,
Could it
I
be
got
something
out.
else?
6 months
On our
later, I
follow-ups,
was
we went
reading
to
in
make sure that it
the
wasn't a
National
log,
Geographic
wasn't a
that
stump,
other people
wasn't a
had
cave.
heard that sound in those pyramids.
None of those
No
things
one
were
knows
there.
what it was.
You know,
So,
the angle is not exactly the same.
I
because I'm on
feel
a
that I
kayak,
heard
but
something that the
it's
vast
very
majority
close
of
that you
people
can
in
see
the
the
world
comparison
have
between
never
spiky
heard of. So
tree.
that was my real
So
introduction
we got
to paranormal.
more to do on
There have
this.
been other things that I've experienced that very few people have seen, even natural things. I didn't know that alligators could shoot jets straight up. I've been in Louisiana swamps. I had 6 alligators shoot jets of water straight up.
Sure.
It looked like a Las Vegas water show. I saw it twice. I don't know any other researchers that have ever seen it. I've never even seen
Try to
that on
debunk
National
it.
Geographic.
I retired after
But that's
37
the
years
kind
of
of
law
stuff you
enforcement,
can
so I
experience
conducted
if you
it
get
like
yourself out into
like
the
an
woods, into the
investigation that I
swamps,
would have
into these
done on the
remote
streets.
areas, and just experience life in
Documented
those
weather
areas.
conditions,
So as
time
I
of day,
began to
specifically the
research,
types of cameras that were used.
my friend who
Other
lived
things are
40
approximate, like
miles from
distance,
Nashville,
height up this rock face.
he would send me photographs of where he
but
would
yes,
walk. This was a state
trying to
park.
debunk
I won't tell
ourselves
you where it
before we
is
put this
because I
out
don't
there.
want this stuff to be
We're not going to put anything
vandalized.
out that's not 100% legitimate.
He would send me these photographs and he said, "This is where I walk every morning."
There's
And I said,
something
"Well,
there,
that really
and
looks
there's not.
squatchy."
I don't know
And he
what
said,
it is,
"Well, as
but I
far
hope
as I
you
know,
find
there's
it."
never been any reports of it. Please come out. I'm sure the park would love for you to come out. So I did. I spent one full day going all over this park. Never found anything of any substance. As I was leaving, I found a map, and I found this one little spot that was labeled
I've
in
been to that and
wilderness
actually
area.
took 2
And I
groups
thought, well,
during
if
the
there's
squatch
any
out
place in this
to that
park that
location.
something could be and no one
Because I
ever
had that one
sees it,
figured out
that would be where it
100%.
was. So
There were
the
some
next
other
day,
locations that I
I
was
came
not
back.
100%
I
on.
went to this remote area. I was there for
kind
about
enough to
20 minutes and
give me more
began to
information.
see evidence
I've been up there since, and I'll be back.
Sasquatch activity.
That's what I do.
Well, thank you.
I began to discover,
That's a really
well, I
awesome
discovered the first of what I call pagodas. And these are structures,
Is this going to be your final follow-up?
trees
I
bent
don't know
to the
about final.
center,
It'll be the next one.
braided all the
I
way
can
down on
promise,
both sides to
some
keep
other
them from springing
podcasts
back
that
up,
I've been
and
on
two
that I
more
will
bent
will
over,
certainly
two
keep
more
them
bent
up
over,
to
so they
date
look like
on the
igloos.
latest investigation
I call
findings,
them
and I'll be happy
pagodas.
to do the
You
same
can
with
read
these.
about my adventures in my book, Pagoda. It's over there. It's $30. You can get it online, but you got to pay postage, so it's better if you get it from me. But it was a year-long investigation. That was the first one I found. They made another one. I completely believe that it was especially for me because I would investigate this one so heavily for weeks. Photographs,
We got a group
measuring.
coming up
I had my
next
friends
weekend.
come out and
They
do
reached out
their
to
thing.
us.
I walked up and down these trails 100
helping them
times.
out. around,
knew exactly what was
finding
there.
locations and stuff. I'm sure everybody's
One day
heard
I'm
about
walking down the trail and there
master
was a
site,
brand new,
bunkers,
and
this
I
and
thought
that.
this
Well,
it had to be because I was
I've been
showing so
working
much attention
really
to the
hard
first
the last
one.
2 years, and I'm pretty familiar.
So now I had
like,
two.
I'm always
Later
willing to
on,
learn
I
something
discovered
new,
the third
and I do
one, which
every
was
time I
20
go out.
feet by 30 feet, 8
But I
foot
try to
tall
learn
in the
from people that
center.
have been doing this
Each
a long
one of
time.
these structures
Keep my mouth
is
shut, listen to what they
signed.
tell
I
me.
call them signed because I really do believe
Yes,
it's some
sir.
sort of artistic.
All right, so I am here.
They were coming, and they said there was multiples.
From the Sinister
They
Sisters.
were coming from that direction, and they were there for the women. Now, Bigfoot creatures gravitate toward women. These things told us flat blank. They were there for the women. In the meantime, I get with another person that I can get into in Nashville. I can get into her head.
I'm gonna make you tell that story because I think it's so funny.
Brushy Mountain.
Things that
Brushy
she's never
Mountain
told
Station is
anybody, so I
Yeah,
call her and I
so
say,
we went there. It was about
just
last
relax
year.
and see if you can see what's going on. Well, she immediately goes
We
out.
went with a couple other groups.
I thought she hung up.
But
In reality, she later told me that as soon as I said that, she began to go into her state and she began to have rapid eye movement. That's a dream
called the Hole.
So she was experiencing everything that we were experiencing from Tennessee. From where she was in Tennessee, she said there were 3 creatures there. They weren't coming from that direction. They were there for the women.
Like it
2
literally,
of them
we went
were
into
with
this
Janice and
building.
myself. The
It
third
was,
was somewhere
you
else.
go down these
What we
stairs,
didn't know was
in
that
the
the
back
women at the
there's
fire were
like
having
3
something
or
trying to
4
manifest
cells
at the fire.
there.
So everything
And,
that went on,
you know, it's
it
dark,
was proven to us, put it that way. So that's our first encounter together, and from that point,
It's
it's been.
It's just, I did not want anything to do with it.
I've
So
retired.
Jen didn't want to go in.
That's what we do.
She was like, I'm not going in. But there were 3 other investigators that went into the cell, one to each cell. And then I was standing outside with the cameraman who was filming them. And I was standing behind him, and then behind me was nobody. Jen was the closest thing back there. And so, as I'm listening to them, like, ask questions, talk about, like, try to get communication going with the spirits, all of a sudden I feel like something grab right on my, like, the upper hip to, like, butt area. And so then I was like, I came out and I was like, no. I was like, nope, red hair flying out of that hole. And I was like, I didn't run, but I was like, nope, I did not give you permission to touch me there. Not cool.
Yeah. And I was like, what happened? I said, what happened? She said, something touched me on the butt. I said, so you got touched on the butt in the hole, not the butthole.
And that's our
That's our running joke. That's our running joke.
I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
But now we have to do Jen's.
Oh gosh.
Favorite stories.
Let's see. Like probably my first experience. Yeah. Old Stone. So there's a place called Old Stone Jail in Franklin, Kentucky. And it's a really cool location if you ever get to go. It's 2 separate buildings. One is the jail, and then across the street it used to be a old car parts manufacturing building, I think. But they've turned it into a museum. And we were on the 2nd floor. And I'm thinking I had so many experiences that night that I'm not thinking of the one that literally scared the bejesus out of me. The one that scared the bejesus out of me was in the jail. The residence. Yeah. So we were in the residence building. Everybody was in a circle on the floor, and I was in a chair up against a cabinet. And everybody was trying to, talk, communicate, get some type of, interaction, and asking questions. And in response to the questions, we were hearing a tap on glass, and it was like, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, where's that coming from? Where's that coming from? And I'm sitting there. It was coming from behind me, but I wasn't going to let anybody know that because I was absolutely terrified. And I was like, if I acknowledge this, it's really happening. So we're not going there. And I just sat quiet. And they're like, they asked again, and it was another and they're like, Jen, that's got to be coming from behind you. Is that coming from behind you? I'm like, yes. And they're like, oh my gosh. They're like, let's do it again. And I'm like, no. And it just kept going. And after that, I was like, I'm done. This is too freaky. Like, I cannot do this anymore. I tap out. So that was it for me. That was just the craziest, first paranormal experience I ever had, and it's something that we just love to joke about to this day.
Obviously, negative
It did not. So I did.
You took a break.
I took a break. I went outside. I composed myself and said a couple Hail Marys. And then I was like, okay, guys, let's do this. Let's go back in and find out why this happened. So
It's like a roller
yeah,
coaster.
it is like a roller coaster. Yeah. Could have been what? I don't know. See, I think I was just in like shock that it was even happening and trying to ignore it. So my brain didn't even think to go there. So, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty neat. Yeah.
It was a good place.
Yeah, it was a good place.
Yeah, you should tell the other one about that was there that night, like in the
other building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Because we just went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the same night. That's why I think that my I was already on edge from my first experience. But we were in the museum part of the building doing the investigation, and out of nowhere we heard music, like from an old music box. That you would open up and it's kind of that really dainty music. And I look up, and I look up and I look at Rachel and she's like, did you hear that? And I'm like, yes, you heard it? And then there were two other people doing the investigation with us, Justin and Greg, who actually come like the friends of ours now at this point. They're like, oh my gosh, we heard that too. So then, of course, we always want to try to debunk whatever we think, So we try figuring it out, walking around, and we couldn't hear anything, couldn't figure it out. And then we heard it again from the opposite end of the building. And we all heard it at the same time. Yes, and so we had something called the Spirit Talker going at the same time. And, we still couldn't figure out where this music was coming from. And when it was time to transition to the next part of the building, I was like, man, I really wish that we could have figured out where that music was coming from. And the Spirit Talker, in direct response, real time said, from the box. And I was like, what?
The box we could not find.
Yeah,
the box.
Where's the box? We could not find the box. But even Justin, he's like, girl, you got a real-time answer. But, yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, I have Tommy sitting right here in front of me. Tommy, thank you for appearing on the podcast and telling your story here at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo.
You're welcome.
Yeah, what's your story, man?
Okay, to fully understand this story, when I was in middle school, I was thinking of going into the priesthood of the Catholic Church because I was in Catholic school all the way through elementary school, middle school. And my father died when I was 14 years old. And that kind of sent me in a different direction, so to speak. So I did a total 180. Yes, and I started looking into spirituality. I started looking into anything having to do with heaven, hell, demons, angels, anything like that. And I started online, which I probably shouldn't have done because there's not a lot of good information out there. But I ran into a friend who gave me a copy of the Keys of Solomon, which is a demonic report. Yes. And another friend of mine said, do not take this thing into your house because it is dangerous. These are dark forces that you're looking at. Well, at that point I was like, I'm gonna throw caution to the wind. I'm doing it anyway, and so I had a copy. It was a printed copy, and I would keep it in my closet. I had it in my closet for years until I moved away, but I could feel a dark energy coming off of this. It was not a hardback or paperback book. It was just a printed copy. And of course, there's a lot of different information in this book, and I would peruse it whenever I felt ready to look through it. And at one point, there are names in this book of beings that you're not supposed to pronounce. And I had some friends over, and we said, oh, we're going to try to do a seance with this book. Well, I call it a book. So we pulled out a name from this book, which I will not say here because I've learned my lesson. And we all got into a circle, we lit a candle, and we all held hands, and we said the name, and we invoked it to come into this room. And we were like, okay, nothing's happened. You know, we were a little bit disappointed, but you know how that happens with young people. You know? So then we heard this loud noise. And we were in the middle of nowhere where there's no people, no animals around. We heard this bump. We extinguished the candle. We said, okay, we're leaving. We left the room. We never came back in the room for the rest of that evening or even the next morning. Yeah.
You don't know, you didn't see anything or nothing happened after that?
Well, a friend of mine was talking about shadow people and other paranormal things, and I have felt presences in that house, which I don't live there anymore. As a matter of fact, it's demolished now, you know, but I did feel some strange presences in that house after we did that ritual, which I've learned my lesson. I'm never doing that again. I never did that again. So, yeah, and that's pretty much my whole story.
Well, thank you. That's an interesting story. Not advisable.
No, it is.
Say that. And did you do anything like afterwards to maybe try to close the portal or anything like that? Did you think to do anything like that?
No, we were so frightened that we actually made a pact, like you hear people do. We're never going to talk about this again. No. So,
but the place is demolished.
Yes, it is.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for telling me that story. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Leslie here at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. Leslie, I understand that you kind of attract ghosts and spirits to you and stuff like that, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes.
You got a good story for me?
Yes.
Okay, it's a shadow person story, right?
Yes.
Okay, I want to hear this because you kind of talked to me a little bit about this earlier, and I found it very interesting. So tell us your shadow person story.
I was at a friend's house and I seen this thing. It looked just like a person, except it was only a shadow. And it was across the street from where I was.
Now there's a cat.
And they still have the trailer court I was at. But that trailer's not there anymore. But anyway, I started watching it. When you watch something like that, they wind up wanting to know you a little bit better. So they track you and they go with you. Yeah.
So they follow you wherever you go?
Yeah.
Like all the time?
Until you get rid of it, yeah.
How do you get rid of it?
There's spells and there's prayers that you can do. Some of them work, some of them don't.
Do you just have to go through the progression till you find one that works?
I went through 3 spells and none of them worked. I went through a prayer and it worked. But in the meantime, before I found the remedy, I was very drained and didn't feel right. And my sister was wearing a crystal around her neck and it kept zapping her every time I came by.
Like an electrical shock type thing?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Wow.
So she could tell it was Zombie too.
And how did you find the spells and the charms and stuff? You said sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. I mean, how did you find all this?
My sister taught me a lot of things. She's the green witch. I wound up being a green witch also because of it. And so I look up spells and prayers and when things come about, I die.
Okay.
And so it's just trial and error type thing.
So everything is good now?
Yeah.
Nothing's attacking you or anything?
No.
Did you have any like physical harm caused to you by this?
Just drainage.
Just like all the energy?
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like I was just completely drained.
But nothing like no scratches or anything?
No. I got rid of it.
Good. Way to go. Well, that's a great story. Thank you for telling me your story and being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. This is going to turn out a little dark, but that's okay. I don't care. The West Kentucky Paranormal Expo has come to its conclusion.
Was supposed to go on till about 7 or 7:45 tonight. I don't know which. Different people were given different times of what time it was supposed to end. But everything started winding down early, and we packed it up, or I packed it up along with everybody else. Most people started leaving around actually 4:30. I stayed until about I started packing up around 6 or so, maybe a quarter after, and I just stopped off and grabbed something to eat. It's been a long day. It was hot in there. They didn't have central heat and air, so they just had like the garage door open with some big fans going. It was hot and I'm tired, but you know what? I got some great stories. I made some great contacts. Got invited to do some investigating, and I got invited to be a guest on a podcast, and I got interviewed by a documentary film crew who was there. So that's pretty cool. Don't know what's going to happen with that. Probably nothing. They were actually there doing a documentary on one of the speakers, and they were just running around doing some B-roll. So who knows? Maybe they'll make something out of it. I don't know. But yeah. So anyway, had a great time at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. I want to send a thanks out to Kent Wilson, who's the guy that invited me there and put the whole thing on, and he wants me to come back next year, so I'll probably do that. But it's got about a two-hour drive home back to Nashville, so I'm going to get on the road and see you guys later. Peace.